Good afternoon, sir. We'll start the session within 2 minutes. So let everybody join.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah. So should we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. On behalf of the Institution Innovation Council at Symbiosis Center for Distance Learning, it is my pleasure to welcome you to today's workshop on lean startup and minimum viable product business. We are honored to have with us Mr. Amber Batwara, an expert in sustainable products and lean concept. With this strong focus on sustainability and entrepreneurship, Mr. Batwara begins a wealth of practical knowledge and inspiring insights. Today's session promises to be highly enriching for all aspiring entrepreneurs and innovators. With that, let us begin. To you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Pallavi, ma'am.
Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. So it's give me great pleasure to welcome you all today's sessions on the lean startup and minimum viable product and business organized by Institute Innovation Council IIC at the Symbiosis Center for the Distance Learning. Lean startup methodology, it is a smart way of the building business with the fewer resources, lesser risk, and the faster learning. Instead of the creating the full product and a lean waiting to the see so how the pupil is like and not like, how the pupil is like and not like. Just wait. So entrepreneurs build up a minimum viable product that is the simplest version of an idea, can be tested in the quick manner and built in the market. So today's sessions we will explore about the lean startup, what is the real meaning of the lean startup, the role of the minimum vital product in testing the business ideas, how the startup and even large organization are using this method to innovate faster. So let's begin our the session. So before diving in the ocean of the lean startup, let's first understand what is the real meaning of the lean. So what do you think about the lean? Anyone want to tell me about the meaning of the lean? What's the first word comes in your the mind when you heard this term is the lean? Anyone? So what do you think about the lean? Yes, lean is the slim. If you are not able to speak, you can put your the answer in the chat session. Yes, anyone? The simple meaning of the lean is the slim, or you can say the thin, or you can say the minimization related, you can say the fit. So in this slide here mention the one image that is related to the fat person and the lean person. So this image is related to our the fat person and it is our the lean person. So fat persons carries the extra weight, the unnecessary fat. So he moves the slowly and he gets tired quickly and he's consumed the more resources in the terms of the food and the energy to maintain the body. In comparison of this fat person, the lean person carry no excess fat, only carry the fat which is needed. and it moves faster, it is more flexible, it is more agile, and use the resources in a efficient way. They consume the resources like the food and the energy that it is needed. So this fat person is symbolized over the traditional way of the business. This fat person is symbolized the traditional way of the business, and this lean person symbolize the lean business, or you can say the lean startup. So lean startup is efficient, it is the customer focused and the fast learning. And about the traditional startup is the lot of the waste, long process, excess of the cost. So that is our the traditional startup. So when we understanding this term in the company or the organization, the fat company or the lean company, a company they carries a lot of the waste, that is called the fat company. So build too many features, they spend the very long times and ignore the customer feedback and up to the wastings of their resources. That is the fat organization. When we are talking about the lean organizations, it's mean we are focusing on how can we reduce the waste and get the feedback from our the customer in the quick manner, improve the process step by step. We are focusing on the continuously improvement, higher chances of the success. We are focusing on the MVP, minimum vital product. So in short, we can say we can say lean means eliminating the waste and focusing only what add the value. So it is focusing on this type of the value we have to create for our the customer. We are focusing on reduction of the waste and the continuously improvement. So simply we can say the lean as a fit, as a flexible, efficient, more productive compared to the fat system that is slow, wasteful, and the slowly. The origin of this lean manufacturing that is comes from the Toyota production system, TPS. Lean in the simple terms, we can understand lean, it's mean in which we are focusing on these three main important terminology that is related to our the customer centric, in which we are explore the need of the customer, what is their the expectation, we providing the product as per as customer expectation. Second important thing related to the waste, how can we reduce the waste in our the organization, in our the process. And third important thing which we are focusing in the lean concept, that is related to the continuously improvement. And when we are discussing the other approach are based on the task, are based on the production perspective, in which we are only focused on the productivity. After the Second World War, the Japanese is focused on how can they improve their the efficiency. They are focusing on the waste. So after the Second World War, Japanese are focused on the waste, and in the Japanese technology, the waste is called the muda. So muda is the Japanese word, which English meaning is the waste. So Japanese are focused on the how can they reduce the waste, how can they minimize the muda, mura, and muri. This is called the 3M concept. This is the three Japanese word which meaning is the waste, unevenness, and the overburden. So muda, which English meaning is the waste, and mura is the unevenness. Unevenness means improper work distributions, and muri is related to the overburden. And we can understand the overburden when we are assigning the some additional task to any person beyond their the capacity, to any person, to any equipment beyond their the capacity. That is the condition of the overburden. So Japanese is focused on this 3M concept, that is the muda, mura, and muri. So we understand this concept with the help of this example. So here we consider the one truck. So maximum capacity of this truck, the total requirement, that is the 60 kg. So in the one shipment, so we want to ship the 60 kg, that is our the requirement, and the capacity of this truck to carry the maximum 30 kg in the one shipment. That is the maximum capacity of this truck, maximum capacity of the resources. So first we understand the concept of the waste. Muda. Muda means that is the waste in which we are not utilizing our the full capacity of the resources, and the here resources is about the truck, and their maximum capacity is the 30 kg. So in the one shipment, it's carry the 30 kg. So in case of the waste, in the one shipment, we deliver the only 20 kg, each container having the weight of the 10 kg. So in the one shipment, we are only carry the two container, it's mean the 20 kg. In the second shipment, we also carry the another two container, so 20 kg. In the third shipment, we also using the 20 kg. It's mean we are not fully utilize the capacity of our the resources. We are not use the resources in their optimal condition. That is called the waste. Second M is related to the Mura. Mura means unevenness. If we are improper work distribution of our the employees and the equipment or the machinery, that is called the Mura situation. In the Mura situation, we carry the 20 kg in the one shipment. In second shipment, we carry the 40 kg. But the maximum capacity of the truck to carry the load, that is the 30 kg. We assigning the task in the second shipment beyond the capacity of this truck. So that is the situation of the Mura, which is called the unevenness. Third situation is the Muri. Muri is related to the overburden. Muri is related to the overburden, in which we are using the one shipment and we have to carry the total requirement, that is the 60 kg in the one shipment. That is about the overburden situation. So Japanese are focused on this 3M, that is called the lean concept. So in lean concept, we are focusing on this 3M word. How can we eliminate our the waste, and how can we avoid the situation of the unevenness, Mura and the Muri. In the organization, we are focusing on our the activities. So what is the waste in the organization? Waste in the terms of our the defective product, our the scrap material, or in case of the activities, we are divided the activity in the two type. First activities is our the value added activity. So in our the organization, we generally categorize our the waste according to the activity. Activity is the value added activity. Second activities is non-value added activity. This is the value added activity and the non-value added activity. So what do you think about the value added activity? Value added activity means those activity are at the value as per as our the customer point of view. So this is considering as a value added activity, or in other words, we can understand if the customer willing to pay for it, that is the value added activities. So non-value added activity, which is not add any value in our the final product from the customer point of view, those activities as considered in the non-value added activity, and customer are not willing to pay for it. So that is a non-value added activity. So in the organization, generally we are categorize our the activity in the two form, value added and the non-value added. So this concept we can understand with this example. Understanding the waste is very important to designing the effective system and the processes. So here we consider the process. So cycle time of any activity is the 100 minutes. Here we consider the example. Here we consider the one task which cycle time, which process time is the 100 minutes. In which the 100 minutes, the 90 minutes is our the non-value added time. So in the 90 minutes our the non-value added time, and the 10-minute actually our the value added time. So if we are focusing on our the value added activity, we reduce the process time, we want to reduce the cycle time of the value added activity, and we want to improve in the value added activity up to the 50%. Up to the 50%. It's mean the value added activity is the 10% and we have to reduce their time up to the 50%. It's mean the 5%. So the final process time after the reduction of this 5 minutes is the 95 minutes. When we are focusing on the value added activity and we have to reduce the cycle time of the value added activity with just 50%. So we have to reduce only the 5% of our the total process time. So now the process time is the 90%. Here we can see the different scenario. In this scenario, we are focusing on the non-value added activity. If you are focusing on the non-value added activity and you have to improve the 50% in the non-value added part, it's mean the non-value added part is the 90% and we have to reduce their process time up to the 50%. So we have to ensure the reduction of the 45% of the total process time. So now the process time is the 45% of the non-value added and the 10% is our the value added. It's mean total process time is the 55%. So the whole thing behind that, when we are focusing on the non-value added part, so we can see the dramatic rapid improvement in our the process. So that is the simple way, that is the initial way to implement the lean concept in any organizations. Waste are the two types, the direct waste and the indirect waste. So Muda is the category of the direct waste. Muda is the category of the direct waste, and the indirect waste in the terms of the Mura and the Muris. And when we see the previous data, when we see the various reports, we have to found that only in the organization we performing the 10% is the value added activities. So just here you see this iceberg. So here you can see only the 10% is the value added activity and up to the 90% is only the non-value added activity. So in the lean concept, we are focusing on this non-value added activity which happens due to the some defect or the overproduction or the waiting or non-utilized talent, transportation, inventory, motion, and excess processing. So a lot of the reasons of this generating the waste. So TPS, the Toyota Production System, the Japanese define there the 7 type of the waste category, which is generally available in our the organization, which is defined with the timwood. So timwood is the 7 type of the waste which is available in our the organization. Timwood. T is represent our the transportation waste. I is represent the inventory, motion, waiting, overproduction, overprocessing, and the defect. So T is represent the transportation waste. Transportation means the motion of our the good and the service from the one location to the another location and from the one point to the another point. If the unnecessary movement of our the material between our the two location, between our the two stations, that is called the transportation waste. Second is the inventory. Inventory means the physical things which we hold in our the organization in the terms of the machine, in the terms of the equipment, in the terms of the employees and the time, all the physical things which we hold in our the organization, that is the inventory. If we are holding the inventory beyond our the limitations, unnecessary holding over the inventory, so that is called the inventory waste. So excess of our the raw material, inventory may be the in form of the raw material, work in progress, or the finished good. During the progress, during the production, the inventory in the terms of the process inventory. So inventory may be the raw material inventory, maybe the work in progress inventory or the finished good inventory. and we are maintaining our the inventory beyond the exit limit, that is the waste of our the resources, waste of our the raw material, waste of our the work in progress inventory and the finished good inventory, that is called the inventory waste. Third waste is related to the motion. M is represent the motion weight. Motion means unnecessary movement of our the employees, our the worker, our the machinery or the equipment during the production process. So that is called the motion waste. W is represent the waiting waste. Waiting is our the ideal time. Waiting is our the ideal time of the resources. So resources in the terms of our the employees, our the worker, equipment. So that is the ideal time. Ideal time means in which the resources are not in the working condition. Maybe there the lunch period is the ideal time, or the tea break is the ideal time. Sometime is the waiting time. So when we have material is wait to process in our the next step, so that is called the waiting waste. So ideal time when the people, material and the machine are not in the working conditions. Another waste is the O. O is the overproduction. We are producing more that is not required for us. That is the overproduction. Overprocessing. Overprocessing. We are doing the more work which is not required from our the customer point of view. Unnecessary doing the additional features. Unnecessary doing the additional work, which is the category of the overprocessing. And the last is about the defect. Defect, which is the inefficiencies, error in our the process, and our the defective product, our the scrap material, all these are the defects. So error requiring some the reworking or the recycling or leading to the discarded product, that is called the defect. So according to the TPS, defining the 7 type of the waste, we are focusing on this 7 type of the waste in the lean concept in the organization. We are generally focused on this 7 type of the waste, and our aim to eliminate the pure waste and minimization of the non-value added activity and only focus on the value added activity. So that is related to about the lean concept. Today discussion is based on the lean startup. So with the before starting the concept of the lean startup, you just tell me what is the meaning of the startup? What do you think about the startup? Anyone? Anyone want to share their thoughts related to the startup? So what do you think about the startup?
I think it's anything new that you want to start, or a new
Yes,
launch of something new, basically.
yes. Anyone?
I think a startup is a group of people that want to create something and some product or a service, and without knowing that what the future holds, that uncertainty.
Okay, good. Any other point related to the startup? So startup is the newly established business. Generally, is the startup we call the startup is the newly established business that create the some product or the unique product or the unique service and bring it to the market. So simply, which is called the startup. A startup which is equals to the newly established business. So how can we start up? How can we start our the startup? How can we build up our the new business? So initial phase is our the ideas. We develop the ideas, we identify the some market gap, and we have to do the some literature related to the market and what is the market gap. According to that, we have to generating idea and we have to plan the new product launch in our the market. So initial phase is our the idea. After that, we have to develop some the business model and we have to target our the specific customer, target our the investor, and finally we have to start our the startup. So basically when we are talking about the startup, the characteristic of the startup is based on the innovation driven. The startup is the innovation driven and in which having the some higher risk. we are providing some the unique product or the unique service in our the providing the some unique features or the unique service or the unique product into the market. So in which having the higher risk, the high reward, and we have to need the some funding and the scalability and work in the uncertain market condition. So that is the startup. So in which having the higher risk and the higher funding. So that's why we launching our the new program or the new product. We have to do the lean startup. So the simple startup example is related to the Flipkart. So Flipkart started in the around 2017, sorry, around the 2007 with only the online books. Later they expand their the business in the e-commerce field. Lean startup means lean startup is the more smarter way. Lean startup means more smarter and more cost effective to create our the business. In the lean startup, we are focusing on reduction of the waste, reduction of the resources, the continuously improvement, and in which we are focusing on the minimum viable product. We are not built a special product. We providing a simple product, a simplest version of the product with the minimum features, and we have to launch in the market, and we receive the ideas from our the customer side, and we are considering the feedback from our the customer. According to their feedback, we have to improve our the product. So it is based on the build, measure, and the learn model. Build matlab we have to create a simple product and we have to launch in the market. That is called the testing phase. So test with the real customer. We are collecting the feedback in a real environment. What is the need of the customer? We understand their expectation. According to that, we have learned, we have improved our the product based on the customer feedback. So that is basically the lean startup. It's mean in which the fail the product in the faster mode. We have to learn in the faster mode and we have to achieve the success in the faster mode. So that is the lean startup. Lean startup example lean startup example is the Dropbox. So they didn't build the full product in the initial phase. They have created the short video and showing how it would work, and later on the 1,000 signups, they have to knew the people want their expectation. After then they have to build it. So that is the example of the lean startup. So we explore all the things about the lean startup with the help of this video.
Nora is a project manager. She's working on developing a new product and is looking for an agile method to help her. Her friend Frank knows all about running a business and recommends the Lean Startup method. Sounds interesting, but what does Lean Startup mean? Frank explains. Lean Startup is a slimline development method. This approach helps people to use as little capital as possible to quickly and effectively build companies and launch products that the market really needs. By following this method, Frank dispenses with long planning processes and instead focuses on learning by doing. First of all, Frank's company creates a product, a so-called minimum viable product or MVP. This is launched at an early stage with only minimal features so that valuable customer feedback can be obtained quickly. This helps Frank to ensure that the product is tailored to match the customer's needs. This is also reflected in the so-called build, measure, learn cycle, in which a small product is built and data are then measured, which the development team can learn from. This cycle is known as an experiment. The aim is to carry out experiments as quickly as possible in order to learn as much as possible. Frank sums up the advantages of the Lean Startup method. It clarifies customer demands and highlights the best way to address these. This allows companies to identify false assumptions quickly and cost-effectively, as well as evaluating more ideas, even with a small budget. This increases the product's chances of success. Nora is very impressed. With this agile method, she can find out what the market really wants, even before she has developed the product. This puts her in an excellent position to get started with her product. Nora is a project manager.
So simply we conclude this definition of the lean startup. So lean startup is the systematic, is the scientific approach to create and managing the startups by reduction of our the waste, speeding up the product development and adapting the quickly to the market change. So this origin of this lean startup terms from the that is popularized by our the book is the Eric Ries in the books that is launched in the 2011. The objective of this lean startup to build a product or business that meet our the customer need with the minimum resources and minimum time. Three major principles we are using in the lean startup. First principle is related to the business model canvas, BMC. Second principle is related to the customer development, and third principle is related to our the agile development. So these three principles we are using in our the lean startup. First is the business model canvas. Business model canvas is our the visual representation. It is a visual template for designing and testing our the business model. So in which we are firstly this canvas is created by the Alexander Osterwalder in the 2005. Later that is adopted by the Steve Blank, and this lean startup is work as a drawing board of the ideas. So before we starting our the new product, or when we are start to launch the new product in a market, we have to do the some scratch work. We have to see the visual template and the visual representation related to the key partnership or the key activities and the some value propositions. All the things we have to mention in this visual template. So we have to understand our the idea in a better way. So this visual representation give us the more clarity. So lean startup, it work as a drawing board of the ideas related to the assumptions and the guesses and the hypotheses. We have to set the hypothesis for our the startup, and we have to take the some assumptions and about the planning part. So this is related to our the visual planning part. Especially version is called the lean canvas by the Ashmore used in their the startup. So this is the business model canvas in which we have to see the various segment. Segment is related to the key partners. So who is our the partner for this startup? Which type of the activity we have to involve in, and we have to see about the value proposition which not provided by our the competitor. So which type of the value we have to provide for our the customer, and see also the customer relationship, see also the customer target and the customer segment, key resources. We have to do the planning of the resources, distribution channel, cost structure, and the revenue streams. So in which we are doing the complete planning. Planning is related to our the all stakeholder. It's mean key partners. So who is the stakeholder of for our the new startup, and also we have to planning about the activities, all the activities involving from our the starting phase to the ending phase. And here we have to see the value proposition, which type of the value, which unique feature we are providing for our the customer that is not available in our the market. So we have to do the market survey, and we have to find out the some gap. According to that, we have provide the some special feature as per as expectation of our the customer. And the customer segment, which society you have to target. It is the common product, it is the some special product, and the channel, how can you distribute your the new product or the new feature or the new service. And also you have to do your the cost estimations and the revenue stream. So this is the template which is called the business model canvas, or you can also say the lean canvas. So in which we are defining our the problem, our the scope of the startup and their solution, key matrices, unique value propositions, unfair advantage, channel, how can you distribute your the product, customer segment, cost structure, revenue streams. So finally, this canvas model help to entrepreneurs quickly test whether their ideas can create value for the customer and the company. So it is provide the complete clarity. So this idea is feasible or not feasible. So with this help, you can easily take the decisions. So this is the beneficial, it's not beneficial. It creates some value for our the customer. It creates value for our the organization or the company. The second main principle is related to the customer development. So lean approach is focused on the customer centric. It is not the product centric. It is not the process centric. It is the customer centric. Customer centric means we are focusing on the voice of customer. We are focusing on the VOC, voice of the customer. It's mean what is the expectation, what is the requirement of our the customer. So customer development get out the building approach, and we have to directly reach out over the customer. We have to directly talk to customer partner and the stakeholder. We are only focusing on the data centric. It's mean we are focusing on the practical approach. We are not just based on the intuitions. The product features not based on the intuition. We are just taking the fact. We are focusing on the practical approach, practical research, and the feedback which is comes from our the customer side. Not just take the assumptions or the intuitions. When we are discussing about the customer development, so two main important things. The customer discover, it's mean we identify about the customer expectation, need, or their requirement. So that is the customer discover. Second is the customer validation. So once we have to ready about the product, we have to check about the product is fit according to their the requirement. We have to map the customer requirement with our the product feature. So that is called the customer validation. So two important terminology. The customer discover means in which we identify what is the expectation requirement of our the customer. Second is the customer validation. Once we have to complete our the product or the service, we map the features of our the product with the customer expectation. After that, we have to ensure this product is fulfill the customer need and it is fulfill the required gap. And promote a feedback loop, reject what doesn't work, revise what can be improved, and keep what work. So lean concept is focused on the continuously improvement. So always we are focused on the continuous improvement. We continuously improve our the feature of the product and the service to stay in the competitive market and gaining our the customer satisfaction. The third principle is related to the agile development. So agile development in which, so this terminology is comes from our the software industry, in which we are focusing on the shorter life cycle to develop our the product. We are just ignoring the long process or the larger investment. We are focusing on the shorter cycle times. So agile is related to the customizations. So agile word is related to the customizations. Customizations, we provide the customized product over the customer according to their the requirement. So agile is considering as a more flexible, more responsive. So it makes our the processes, make our the product is more flexible, more responsive. We can adopt the changes. We can adopt quick changes in our the product and the process as per as the market condition, as per as the customer requirement. So this is called the agile development. We focusing on the shorter cycle of the development instead of the long area of the product buildings. And we working hand in hand with our the customer. We along the working with our the customer development, product evolve step by step as per as the expectations or the market need. And we have to create the MVP, minimum viable product. Minimum viable product is the is the simplest version of the product. We are providing the simplest version of the product with the lesser resources, with the lesser funding, with the essential features. So once we have to create the simple version of the product and we have to launch in the market, and we have to collect the real time feedback from our the customer side. What is the need of the customer, what is the expectation of the customer from this product, and we have to testing all the assumptions. After that we have to improve our the product. So that is the MVP, minimum viable product. Reduce the waste of the time and the resources, that is the prime concept of the lean. So this is the three main principle of our the lean concept, lean startup. First is related to the business model canvas, second customer development, and third is related to the agile development. When we combining the three things, the lean startup, agile, and the design thinking. So when we combining these three things, lean startup, agile, and the design thinking, when we combining or togethering, it will be create the more flexible, more customer centric, lower risk startup approach. So digital thinking. So what you think about the digital thinking? Digital thinking means understand the customer need in the deepest way. So digital thinking, this is the initial step, this is the initial phase where we generating our the ideas. We have to learn about the customer expectation, customer need, what is the gap of the market. So understand the customer need in the deep way. So we using the some quality function deployment, that is the best way to understand what is the voice of the customer, and according to that we have to map our voice of customer with the product features. So first thing is our the design thinking. Design thinking in which we analysis our the customer expectation, their need. We have to understand the customer requirement in the deepest way. Second is our the lean startup. All of we aware about the lean startup. We have to test our the business model with the MVP, minimum viable product, and the feedback loop. So we are not launching our the high performance product that consuming the larger resources or the larger funding. We just make a simplest product, the initial version of the product with the essential features, with the essential function, and we launch in the market, and we collect the feedback from our the customer side. According to that we have to improve our the product. So that is the lean startup simple concept. Third thing is about the agile. Agile is related to the rapid or the iterative or the product building. So with the help of this concept we have to make our the process is more flexible. Flexible means you can easily adopt the changes in your the process, in your the product as per as the customer requirement. For example, the customer needs some special feature as per as their requirement, so you easily provide the customized product to our customer. So that is called the more flexible, that is called the agile, that is called the more customization, which is the responsiveness. So easily we can respond, easily we can adopt the changes as per as market requirement, as per as our customer need. When we combining these three terms together, our system make more flexible, more customer centric, and the lesser risk startup approach. So in this diagram, you can see the three approach, how can we combining, and that is the concentrate and the abstract. This is the initial phase, is about the designing phase. So in which the empathize, define, and the ideation, it is the initial phase of our the idea generation. We have to understand the need of the customer. Lean concept is based on our the three main important C's, that is the build, measure, and learn. Build means we have to make a smallest version of our the product. Measure means test, test with the real customer, test with the real environment, and learn according to this testing. After the analysis of the data, we have to improve our the product. So improve based on the feedback, improve based on our the customer feedback. So this is the lean startup. So that is based on our the build, measure and the learn. So third is our the agile concept. Agile is related to the rapid or the iterative and the product building. So the final thought related to the lean startup, simply we can say the lean is very fast, flexible and the customer driven. The three main important principle is using in our the lean startup, that is related to our the model canvas, business model canvas. It is the visual template, it is the blueprint for testing our the idea, simply in which we have to clear our the ideas. We have to check the feasibility of our the idea. It is feasible, it is beneficial or not beneficial. It creates some value for our the customer, it creates some value for our the company or the organization. So this is the initial way when the ideas in our the thought process or the idea, when we are converting in the some visualization phase, converting in the some written phase. So idea is clear, more the idea is more visualized, so we can easily understand it is feasible or not feasible. So that is our the first principle related to the business canvas model. Second, related the customer development, in which we have to discover about the customer and validity to our the customer. We identify the voice of the customer and map the product feature with the customer need. That is called the customer validation. And third is related to our the agile concept. So it is related to our the more responsiveness, more flexible, more simpler and customization, and build the shorter life cycle with the minimum viable products. So how to use the lean methodology in your the startup? So lean startup method help the entrepreneur answer, should this product be built? So if you want to build up this product, so you have to get the answer with this lean startup. So if yes, so how should it be built? So this work through the experiment, customer feedback and the quick iterations. So here mentioning the various steps which is used in the lean methodology when you do your the own startup. First is our the minimum viable product. So we are not focusing on some the perfect product. We are focusing on the simplest version of the product. Simplest version means we are providing all the essential function as per as the customer requirement. We are not involving the larger funding, we are not involving the larger resources, just we make a simple prototype to testing purpose. So that is the minimum viable product, MVP. So it is the first simplest version of the product. So the purpose of this product is the test business assumptions. Just we have to make for the testing purpose, and we have to collecting or gather our the customer feedback in a quick manner. So help to see what the customer actually want before spending too much time. So benefit of this MVP, we can easily see this product will be fail or will be succeed. So we can easily analysis with the help of this simple format of our the product, simple version of the product. Minimum viable means we have to do basic but the good feature enough to the get attention of our customer and receive the feedback, and that is called the minimum viable. And minimum, we have to reduce our the resources, we have to reduce our the resources in the terms of all. We are lesser involving of our the employees or the worker. We are lesser use of our the machinery or the material or the money and the time to making this product. So this is the minimum, means minimum use of the resources in the terms of the man, machine, material and the money. And viable means we are providing all the essential function to attract our the customer, but not spending the too much money and the time to develop this product. That is the minimum viable product concept. So basically it is done for the testing purpose. So quickly we have to receive the customer feedback and we have to improve our the product as per as the need of customer. So that is the first way, minimum viable product. Second is the customer development. Customer development, you have to plan to new startup. You have to plan the new product launch in the market. You directly reach out the customer. You directly meet the customer. You directly meet the partner. You directly meet the stakeholder and understand what is the need of the customer. So what actually the customer want, where is the gap in the market, where is the what is about the competitor, this type of the feature they are providing. So all the analysis you have to done before launching the new product in the market. So customer discover, you talk the potential customer and understand what is there the requirement, what is there the need, and according to that you set over the features of the product, map over the feature according to the customer requirement. That is called the customer validation. After the customer validation, you start your the making of simple version of the product. So build a product around the real customer problem. So that is the second step. Third is the continuously deployment and the delivery. So common in the software, generally in the software launching or the software product in our the IT, we are focusing on the shorter life cycle. We are not working on the very long cycles. We are focusing on the shorter cycle, the new update and the release very immediately instead of the long release cycles. And we have to get the instant feedback and speed up our the improvements. This concept is related to our the agile, in which we are focusing on our the shorter life cycles. A and the B testing, we are not rely on our the one type of the features. We generally split the testing. We are making the two product according to the different version of the product, and we are testing on the different segment of the customer. So we have to reach our the actual feedback. So we providing the different version of the product which is reached out at the different segment of the customer. So we are collecting the more feedback, more richer feedback. So it is help in our the betterment of our product. So compare this response using the data driven metrics. We have the some KPIs. According to that, we have to analysis about the data, and we have to find out the some valuable information from this customer feedback. So we are doing the A and B testing. It's mean we are providing the multiple version of the product and reach out the different customer segment. So it helps to decide which version is work better. Actionable and the vanity metrics. Actionable and the vanity metrics means actionable, which is the real indicator. So how can you assess over the performance? We have to set about the some parameter. We have to set about the some performance indicator. We have to set the KPIs, key performance indicator. So which indicator is directly depend on our the business success, like our the customer retentions, and which is depends on our the revenue generation, which is the actionable parameter, actionable metrics. And the vanity metrics, it is not directly impact our the revenue, but to the look, but to show the true progress. So just in case of the software, how many is the download or the likes, according to that we have to check there the vanity metrics. So focus on the metrics that the guide decisions, not just the report look the positive. Always we are focusing on our the critical parameters that responsible in our the revenue generation. We are not just focusing on our the positive reports. We are focusing on our the actionable manner. Pivot is the structure change in the strategies based on the customer feedback. So that is called the pivot means after the receiving of customer feedback, how can we do our the change in our product? So that's the strategy. How can we do the change as per as the customer requirement? So that strategical part is called the pivot. So different type of the pivots, the zoom in which we one features becomes the whole product, and the zoom out means the product becomes the part of the larger solution. Customer segment, we have to targeted the new group of the customer, customer need, solve a different, more important problem, and shows flexibility, change direction without the quitting. Innovation accountings. So next 7 number point is related to the innovation accounting. So innovation accounting is the process, is the measure the progress when the traditional metrics are not relevant. For example, in some type of the startup where the traditional metrics is not relevant in our the case, then we are focusing on our innovation accounting metrics like our the customer input, customer interaction, and customer feedback, testing the key assumptions, and tracking the early growth drivers. When we measuring the performance, when we focusing on this point, that is called the innovation accounting. Keep the startup accountable and the goal oriented. And the last is our the build, measure, and the learn loop. So that is very important part of our the lean startup. So these three main important terminology. Initially, we have to build our the simplest version of the product, that is called the minimum viable product. Create the minimum viable product quickly. Measure means we have to launch in the market, and we have to collect the feedback, we have to collect the data from our the user. And learn means we analyze the data, we have to check all the assumptions, we validate all the assumptions, we have to find out the some valuable insight from our collected data. According to that, we have to pivot means that is the strategy, how can we improve our the product based on the customer feedback. So this loops is repeat until the product find a market fit. So it is the continuous process, so to make the product is more better. So at the end of this session, we have to see the various benefits of this lean startup approach. Eliminate the waste. So before this initial phase of this session, we have already discussed about the lean means reduction of the waste. So once the lean word so comes in mind in our the reduction of the waste, we are focusing on how can we eliminate the waste, avoid the spending time and money on the things that not add the value for our the customer point of view. So all the activities which is not to create the value for our the customer, that is the waste activity. Focus only what benefit the company and the customer. Only we have to focus on those activity, those tasks that create the some value, that add the some value for our the customer and our the company. So first point, first benefit with this lean startup, we are focusing on the reduction of waste. Shorter development cycle. So first is about the lean concept, and in which we are also involving our the agile concept. So agile concept in which we are focusing on our the short development cycle. Use the agile iterations, the product are built and improve the faster way. Product should be more flexible, more simpler, and more responsiveness. Changes can be implemented in the quicker manner and the faster market entry. So that is the second advantage of this lean startup. Next is encourage the risk tracking and the entrepreneurship. So in the lean startup, we are using the lean canvas. Lean canvas is the some visual template. You can easily check the accessibility of your the startup. You can check the feasibility. So you have to reduce the risk. If you have to identify the potential risk related to your the startup, also we have to find out the ways how can we mitigate those potential risks. So lower cost of the MPV, minimum viable product, to reduce the barrier to entry, promote the experimentation with the bold, innovative ideas, more startup can try and succeed. Customer centric. So lean approach is always based on the customer centric. In the starting of the session, I have already told you the lean is focused on these three main important terminology, that is the customer centric. Second is the continuous improvement and reduction of the waste. So lean startup is the customer centric. It is not based on the process centric or the product centric. Constant feedback loop ensure the product solve the real time customer problem, real time customer expectation, and their the need. The final product is more likely to succeed in the market. Easier financings, so need the less capital upfront. We are using the concept of the minimum viable product. We are making the very simplest version of the product that consume the lesser resources, that consume the lesser funding. It's mean we have to need the less capital upfront, so that is easier to attract our the small and the new investor and reduce the depends on the large venture capabilities. So that is the advantage of our the lean startup. So final thought related to the lean startup. Lean startup means less waste, the faster development, more innovation, happier customer, and easier funding. So that is the complete thought related to the lean startup. So this session is over from my side. If you have any doubt, any question, you can ask me. Otherwise, this session is over from my side. I hope you enjoy the whole session. I hope you have to clear the basic things related to the lean startup. So thank you, Pallavi ma'am, to giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts related to this lean startup.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It was a wonderful, incredible, informative session. And also, thank you to all our participants. We hope today's workshop has inspired you to think more critically about starting your own ventures or contributing innovatively within your organization. And still, if you have any question, please go ahead. So we'll wait for a minute if anybody has any question. So I think nobody has any question. We should end the session. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.